Recording.
Thank you. All right, as stated, I'm David Vaughn. I'm the president of O-Scale Central. It's Saturday, April 22nd, 2023. Thank you for joining us on this O-Scale Central, O-Scale 2-Rail online program. O-Scale Central is a nonprofit 501c3 tax-exempt corporation. Our mission is to promote O-Scale 2-Rail modeling and to support O-Scale 2-Rail modelers. Our website, oscalecentral.com, includes information about the scale, frequently asked questions, shortcuts on how to get started. It also includes a trademarked scale-wide searchable product and service guide, which allows modelers to locate OS2R products and services. The website also offers a calendar of coming OS2R events, lists OS2R focus clubs, publications, Facebook pages, blogs, and other places and activities for O-Scale 2-Rail. We conduct outreach in the form of OS2R clinics, displays, and layouts to NMRA conventions, railroad prototype modeler meets, and train shows. We provide literature about OS2R for use by clubs, open houses, and individual modelers. We publish a quarterly journal, a monthly newsletter, and as indicated, we sponsor these online programs on approximately a monthly basis to provide people with information on what's happening in O-Scale. Previous guests include Norm Buckhart of Protocraft, John Webble of All Nation, David Lilback of Tangent, and Scott Mann of Sunset Third Rail. We're going to continue that today and in coming months. We also provide news you can use, to borrow Dan Dowdy's phrase, and provide people with updates on what's going on in O-Scale events. We are a membership organization. We're doing good things for the scale and the folks that model in it. If you agree, take a look at the website and then join us. Our $24 annual dues are about the price of an Intermountain kit on the open market right now, and you don't have to even perform any kind of assembly. We are going to have a rundown on several things that are coming up, and I want to start with the O-Scale National Convention. I did not see whether Bob Chellan, one of the chairs of that convention, is online or not. If he is, now there you are. Hi, Bob. And Michelle is also, Michelle Campema, who is working with Bob, is also on the call. And let's jump right into this. Bob, we got an exciting convention coming up in Denver. Tell us about it and tell us why people on the call should sign up and attend.
Well, thank you, David. Yes, the convention will be held June 8th through the 11th. However, make note that June 8th is a Thursday. That's when the dealers will set up, the vendors will set up. Friday and Saturday, the 9th and 10th, are when the vendor room will be open, the contest will be held, the clinics will be held. We have a really good host of clinics coming up for this show as well. And then the 11th Sunday will be for people to go out and do some rail fanning, ride some of the trains in Colorado, visit some of the museums, or if they're with family, do some of the other things that we have here from the Rocky Mountains to baseball, a little of everything. So the convention website is oscalecentral.com. You can register there. We have motel rooms available at a special rate through the Hyatt Regency of Aurora, and that link is on there as well. Some of the clinics, one of the clinicians, I thought I saw her on here, and I'm looking around. But yes, we are going to have, there's Sarah. Let me pronounce it right, Griesenbach.
Very correct, Griesenbach. Griesenbach is okay.
And I believe you're from Austria.
Yes, I am.
We also have clinician coming, Santiago from South America. So it's going to be an international presentation of clinics. Layout tours, I want to touch those briefly as well. Jeff McDonald's layout will be open. His layout has full scenery, is what I would call a mid-sized O-scale layout that shows well how you can make O-scale work and be well presented and you don't need a gymnasium. But if you do have a gymnasium, then you can wander over to David Stewart's layout. His Appalachian in Ohio certainly is one of the larger layouts in the US, one of the more well-known ones, and they'll be open and operating. We also have a shelf layout from a new O-scaler who is going in the opposite direction and saying, I can do this in a family room in the basement and fit in a pretty nice Prairie Railroad that represents the Chicago Northwestern. So plus we have a couple of other layouts. One is G-scale. I believe we have a couple of ON3 layouts that we have tentatively lined up. Just a lot going on. It's going to be a great time, lots of activity, and we've been updating the website and really pushing the marketing, if you will, making sure people are going to be able to attend and enjoy everything we have.
Terrific. By the way, I think the website for the convention is oscalenational.com. You can probably get there through the O-Scale Central website as well, but oscalenational.com doesn't get any simpler than that to register for the O-Scale National. Okay, and going along with Bob and carrying the flag and leading the charge is Michelle Kempema, whose day job is as executive director of the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. If you're not familiar with that, it's really a mind-blowing experience, and it is going to be an integral part of the convention tours. And Michelle, I would like you to tell us a little bit about the Colorado Model Railroad Museum.
Sure thing. I'm here right now. So if you hear a lot of background noise, it's because we're open and there's trains and real trains and model trains, lots of noise. The Colorado Model Railroad Museum houses one of America's largest layouts. It's 5,500 square feet that's fully dispatched. Really fun to see when it's operating. And so for this convention, we're actually going to be open into the evening of Saturday night so that you can combine it with Dave Stewart's layout, which is about 15 minutes from here, just over in the next town. And so we're excited to have like a private time for the O-Scale National Convention attendees to come. You can obviously come anytime during convention. We're open all the days from 10 to 4, but we're going to be open in the evening also on the Saturday night. So excited about that. There's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about convention. David, can I talk about those?
Please. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you come in on Thursday night, we're doing an O-Scale Central social. I'm all about the talking to people parts. So we're going to have social time. Oh yeah, we have bells here too that kids ring. Sorry about that. And so it'll just be in the hotel restaurant and in a patio outside. They have a really nice place to gather. So Thursday night, plan on a social time. Friday night is our banquet, and our banquet speaker is a really good friend of mine. And you might have heard of the big boy before, the Union Pacific 4014 that they've been running around the country. Ed Dickens is the senior manager of the heritage operations and the engineer on the big boy. And he's going to come and talk about what it's like to operate that locomotive, to rebuild it. He also has an operational rotary plow they just took out. So he might talk about that too. You never know with Ed, it's always interesting. So make sure you get your banquet ticket for Friday night. I think that's going to be really fun. And then on Saturday, I've added one more of my favorite things to do. So we're going to, right after lunch, if you want to join this tour, we're going to go get on the light rail and take it to Denver's Union Station. And at Union Station, conductor Brad Schwartzwelder from Amtrak, you might have heard of the famous conductor Brad from the California Zephyr. He's actually really quite a local historian, and he found a treasure on a mystery hunt, Indiana Jones style. And he found what's called, we call the Moffat Cut, but that's not really what it's called. And that's part of the story. So you will get to see this. It's kind of a hidden treasure at Union Station. And we'll also do a behind the scenes look through the station and the new modern hotel they've put into it. So that is free. You just got to sign up when you get there to convention, and I'll tell you what time we're leaving and have instructions, but there's no limit to how many want to go. So there you
That's
go.
great. If you have never rail fanned in Colorado, you have really missed out. And we offer through the hotel what they call shoulder dates, which means you can get the rate for a few days before or after. And it is a wonderful opportunity to combine the convention with some just mind-blowing rail fanning. So if you are on the fence, you don't just have to do the convention. You can do the convention, and it can be carried over into other rail fanning as well.
And David, if anybody decides they want to do some days before or after and you have questions, please feel free to contact me. I can help you figure out which train might be the most interest to you and how far of a drive you're going to have to get to them. And if you just want to generally rail fan, I'm happy to tell you some very special
Okay,
places.
how is the best way for people to reach you, Michelle?
I'm probably by email, and that's just Michelle, Michelle at cmrm.org for Colorado Model Railroad Museum, cmrm.org. And just shoot me an
Okay.
email, or you can call me.
Michelle is a bright light on a lot of different levels. Among other of her activities, she is been heading up a new special interest group with the National Model Railroad Association called Women in Model Railroading, and it may be the fastest growing group in MRA. So she is really working well, having a lot of fun, and having us have a lot of fun to be able to work with her. Thank you. And
You're welcome.
I know,
I'm excited to meet Sarah. So
yeah,
excited to meet Sarah.
well, Sarah was actually a previous guest on the program here, talking about her 3D printing and the incredibly high level of craftsmanship that she brings to the work. But I know that Michelle has to run back and do her executive director duties, which is one reason why we put her and Bob on the program first. If you've got any quick questions for her or for Bob, do it. But I believe that Bob will be sticking around if there are questions later in the program. So June 8 to 11. It's actually in Aurora, Colorado, right outside of Denver. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and we're just going to have fun. So join us. If you're on the fence, vote in favor of joining. Michelle will buy you a beer when you get there. I guarantee it. Thank you, Michelle.
I probably will, actually.
All right. Thank you very
thank
much.
you, everybody.
All right. Thank you. We have another show here, and I had invited, and that's O Scale West, and I invited John Hamilton, who is heading that show, to give us a rundown. I did not see him come in, but I may just be missing it. Is John with us? If he is not, is anyone else? Boo, are you able to speak to what's going on with O Scale West?
Hello, all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any much detail. But it's on, and the program is pretty much the same as it usually is at O Scale West. So the website is up running, and we look forward to seeing you all there.
Okay. O Scale West is in Santa Clara, as it has been for many years. It is at the Hyatt Regency there, as it has been for many years. And it is over the Memorial Day weekend this year, May 25 to 27, 2023. And the website is oscalewest.com. O Scale West, all one word, no caps, no spaces.com. And it's the website has the schedule, and feel free to explore it. It is the big show on the West Coast, and we encourage anybody who can be in the area to pick it up, the 25th through the 27th of May. Thank you. All right. I would also note that there is a Southwest O-Scale show, which we just got the word on, and that's in the fall. And I thought I had it up, and I don't. If somebody else has the dates, blow a whistle. Otherwise, I will take some time before we get through. I will find the incoming email and I will make an announcement, but it'll be later in the show. All right. We have an excellent guest
David,
today. Yeah.
I just got my mute off. The Southwest O-Scale meet is what Mike Ross and I are putting on. It's Friday and Saturday, October 21st. And there will be an ad in O-Scale Trains starting with the next issue. We have a website that's coming up and being built right now. But we'd love to have anybody come in. We also have the NMRA National in this part of the country in August, but if you miss that or can't make that and want to come in October, we'd love to have you.
Great. What's the location of the Southwest O-Scale show?
It's in Fort Worth at Texas at the Fort Worth Academy. It's a gymnasium in a small private school. It's a location we've had for several years, and it's more kind of a nice little reunion for most people. This show was started about 40 some years ago, and has been moved around the Southwest area from Fort Worth. George Wallace put it on for several years in Oklahoma City. Dennis Mashburn had it for a time or two. Even Laurel Joyner hosted it. So it's kind of a traveling show, but we've got it the last couple of years. It was started by Larry Muir about 40 some years ago. I don't know if people know Larry, remember Larry. He was a well-to-do man. He figured out how to design printed circuit boards on both sides of the sheet, which made him a millionaire through Texas Instruments, and applied some of that money to O-Scale. The first year that this was put on, he flew in on his jet, 5 or 6 of his friends, to have a little meeting. And then from there, it took off.
Wow. Okay. October 21 and 22 in Fort Worth. Will there be a separate website for that?
Yes, we've changed the name, so I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't recall exactly the new name. I think it's swoscale.com, but there is going to be an ad in O-Scale Train starting with the next issue.
Thank you. And then Mike mentioned the NMRA National, which is taking place in Dallas, August 20 through 26. There will be a sizable O-Scale presence there again. Some of you may remember that last year we took a 36-foot long modular layout to St. Louis and displayed it, and were able to show the flag for 2-rail O-Scale and distribute a lot of literature, talk to a lot of people. It is amazing to me still how many people simply do not understand that 2-rail O-Scale exists. The people who show up and say, where's that 3rd rail down the middle of the track? And it's wonderful to be able to tell them that. We are planning on O-Scale clinics. We will have a switching layout in 2-rail O. We will have booths and tables at the special interest group room, and There are a number of layouts on the tour, including Mike's and Michael Ross's. So that is also a good show. If you're interested in the details, the program is posted on the NMRA website. All right, I think we've gotten through the various show announcements. I appreciate everybody pitching in and spreading the word on that. We start by thinking that all of this stuff is about hardware, and over time we realize that it really is about the friends that we make and continue to see on a year-to-year basis. And the shows obviously provide us with good opportunities to do that. We will, by the way, go around the room and have everybody do a 3-sentence introduction. But I do want to have our interviewee talk to us first. And we are delighted to have Jay Criswell, who heads Right Away, talk to us today. I thought when Lou Cross passed away that his track and track detail business would probably go with him, and certainly that there would never be another Lou Cross in terms of being able to be helpful and friendly, really joyous in terms of his ability to deal with modelers. And son of a gun, his heir and successor, Jay Criswell, came along and has not only continued Lou's work, but has taken over several other detail lines of track details and so on in both O-scale and in particular in Proto 48. And I'd like for Jay to have the opportunity to sort of tell us what he's doing, where he got here, what he's got in mind for the future. And although we may think of him as primarily a track guy, track is a model too, but I think he has a secret, or maybe not so secret, passion about O-scale, even in areas other than track. So, Lou, I'd like you to tell us where you came from, who you are, tell us what you're doing, what's happening with Right Away, and anything else that's going on.
Well, the first thing I need to mention is you talk about Lou and being joyous. I don't think I've ever heard myself described in that term. But
it's the quiet joy that's important.
Oh, okay, there we go. Well, what I'm doing right this minute is working on gearboxes, but getting ready to paint some more of them. But I'll set that down now so we can talk. Yeah, as far as Right Away, Lou did leave it to me when he passed away. Quite an honor. Lou was probably one of the 2 nicest people I've ever met. Bob Jekyll would be the other. But it's such an honor that it kind of took priority over everything else. In other words, if I'm working on something, locomotive, whatever, and an order comes in for Right Away, that takes priority. Just because I feel like I need to honor the way Lou ran the business. And miss him every day. I was talking to Dennis Mashburn this morning, and we were joking about the jokes that Lou would play on us and the stories he'd tell. But anyway, yeah, Right Away was left to me. I try to continue his business practices. I am trying to expand the line. I try to keep Right Away pretty much 2-rail O-scale. And Proto 48 either becomes part of American Switch and Signal, Red Cliffs Miniatures, NCO shops, which is Paul Martinow, and some of it from Protocraft. Norm was getting overwhelmed with small orders and just couldn't concentrate on the decals and the other things he wanted to do. So he offered me a portion of Protocraft and I grabbed it. So anyway, it's what I enjoy doing. I'm lucky. The guy that does all the castings, Valley Brass and Bronze, Dave Shaka, is local for me. As a matter of fact, I was over at his shop this morning picking up some more parts, and it just makes it a lot easier to be able to just walk over and hand him what I need or show him a part, whether it's an old hand fabricated work of art from one of the true craftspeople, or whether it's a 3D print from somebody. He's able to tell me how to sprue it, how we should build it, so on and so forth. So, and what I've discovered with Right Away and all of this, it's really not a one-person operation. There's all kinds of people involved in getting these things produced. So though I may have the title of owner of Right Away, I'm the beneficiary of the talents of many, many people. And it's funny too, Lou talked about what he enjoyed most about Right Away was all the friends that he made. And it's true. I end up with all kinds of new friends, and people order things from me and we talk. And before long, I consider them a friend. Their opinion may differ, but I consider them all friends. Sarah included. Anyway, expanding the line, I'm trying. You have to kind of prioritize what you've got, what needs to be modified or built or added. But again, that's half the fun of it. And you talk about my other passion. Well, what I really enjoy doing is building drives or taking an old model, such as an old Lobaw 060, and fixing it up and making it run better than the newest, fanciest $2,000 or $3,000 model. I guess it's part of my my psyche. I like to see the look on people's faces when an old 50-year-old model runs better than their brand new one. That's kind of fun in a sick kind of way. But yeah, drives is what I enjoy doing. And a lot of people know about it, a lot of people don't, but that's what I enjoy.
Tell us about your work with Lou at Central Loco on his projects.
Well, Lou, I probably shouldn't speak for him, but my impression is he's interested in the gearhead motors. And the rationale for the gearhead motor is that everything beyond the gearhead turns far slower. Slower means less noise, less vibration, less wear, so on and so forth. But to do that, you have to have the drivetrain to go along with it, such as my one-to-one gearboxes. So Lou is looking at doing that. He wants to build new drives and basically, in his opinion, enhance what he offers. But he isn't there yet. So he asked me if I would assist him with the center cab project and now the SDL 39. And because I really like Lou, he's done so many things for me, I couldn't say no. I don't really enjoy doing 20 or 30 of a particular item, but because it was Lou, I said I'd do it. But I think this will be it. I believe he's getting close to developing his own new drive. And once that's done, I can get back to all these projects that have been sitting here for way too long. I know I've probably lost some friends who are waiting for me to build their train or their models, build the drive. And here I am working on Lou's stuff, but I just couldn't say no to the guy. So here we are.
Tell us what codes and types of rail you have, and at least a general description of the different types of track detail parts you offer.
Well, as far as rail in stock at this time, we have code 81, which is not code 83. It's actually more O scale than code 83, wider railhead and so on. So we have code 83 or 81. See, now I even said it. Code 100 in nickel silver. We're out of steel. Then we have code 125 in nickel silver and in steel. Code 138, which was started by, as far as I know, Norm Buckhart at Protocraft. And it was to model transition era main line for Southern Pacific and Union Pacific.
It also works for Eastern roads, including the nickel plate.
Oh, see, I learned something. Thank you. And then we have, of course, the code 148 in nickel, silver, and in steel. So that's the rail. As far as parts, we have points, frogs, guardrails, gauge plates, rail braces, tie plates. Now the tie plates and the rail joiners, well, tie plates especially are plastic. Injection molds used to be done by Cliff Grant's company, but now it's done by my friend Doug McLeod. He has the plastic injection machines, and I send him the molds, and he shoots my plastics for me. Let's see, on the rail joiners or joint bars, we have plastic or nickel silver. Let's see, let me back up. On rail joiners, we have code 83, which are like overlays that we get from Foothill Model Works, from Jerry. And then in code 100, we have the Red Cliffs miniatures, slip-on code 100 joiners, and we have the code 100 joiners from Grant Line, which is now San Juan. In 125, we have them in nickel, silver, and in plastic, and the same for code 148. For code 138, we can use the 148 parts. I think that's pretty much, oh yeah, we have throw rods. The original throw rods that were made by Dave Waddington. And we also have some plastic or Delrin rods that are really Proto 48. And they were made by Jimmy Booth. We tried to use them for regular O scale, and they're just not long enough. Jimmy is going to make some longer ones for regular O scale, but he's waiting on me to get him the dimensions. And I'm kind of waiting on Brad Strong because he's one of my go-to guys for what do we want to do, what would be correct. You know, I'm no expert on tracks and track work. So like many things, I defer to the people that are. And I consider Brad an expert.
If people want to find out what you have, see pictures or diagrams or drawings of it, and order it, how do they do that?
Well, we have a website, not a very good one, and I continue to break it as we go forward. My granddaughter helped me with it, but then when the pandemic hit, I lost access to her. But I have a website. It's rightaway, RIGHT-O-way.us. Not com, but US. And I guess what I would say is if someone has a question, they can email me or call me.
What's your email?
In this case, it would be J-A-Y at rightaway, RIGHT-O-way.us.
All right.
And if they go to the website, it'll have my phone number. Now, I'm going to be honest about that. I'm getting so much junk phone calls, or spam or phishing. I don't know what they are, but I'm probably getting 20 calls a day on my phone, and almost all of them are junk. So I've kind of reached the point where I'm not answering the phone anymore. If it goes to voicemail, just leave a message and I'll do my best to get back. And then, of course, right away, like I said, that's for O scale, 2-rail O scale, regular O scale, traditional. And then we have American Switch and Signal that I got from John Pouts. He offered it to me and I purchased it. Same with Red Cliffs Miniatures from Jim Harper. NCO Shops, which is Paul Martinow. And some parts from Norm Buckhart.
The detail on this stuff is just stunning. It really does make track work into a prize-winning part of the model on the layout. And I just think it's great that you've been able not only to continue Lou's efforts, but to consolidate the different areas. Do you have anything else that you want to add by way of either telling us or ask us? You got any big projects underway you want to talk about?
No, I just need to get back to working on friends or clients' locomotives. But again, I've got to finish Lou's stuff first.
Got it.
Trying to think. I do have a question for Bob, but we can take that offline. It has to do with the convention. And I guess I could ask. I tried to go online and sign up for the convention, and it's ready to take my money, and that's fine, but it never asked me who I am and what I want to purchase. Is there somewhere down the line that it will ask me, who are you and what do you want? How many tables?
I'm the wrong guy to ask on the technical end of it, but let me have Bob Jellin get right back to you, okay? If Bob is still on the line, he can, but he may have popped off because I know he had other stuff going.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Actually, I'm here, David.
Oh, okay.
It depends on when, Jay, when you did that. And I know I talked to Dave Schultz and he said you were coming, which thrilled me. When did you try and get online and do that? May I ask? Do you remember the date?
The last time was just a few days ago.
Oh, then that should all be working. So
Well,
I will resend the link to you.
It takes me to the billing and it's ready for me to send payment, but it never did ask who I am, what I want, so on and so forth. I filled out the paperwork, the hard copy, and I can send that in.
You should be able to do it online, and I will, because we're actually hosting that through Dan Dowdy's site, I need to circle back with him to see if there's anything we're missing on that end.
Okay, well, and if you want, you can call me and I can show you or tell you what I'm seeing when I try it.
We can do that.
I'm assuming I'm not the only person that's happening to, though that may be a fallacy on my part.
Let's, Bob, you and Jay will follow up on that. If we find there's some systemic failure, we'll correct it with the website. And B, if it's sufficiently serious, we need to have Dan Dowdy send out a notice to his list and let everybody know what the problem is and what's being done to correct it.
Well, anything I can do to create work for Dan is fine with me.
Okay. Are there questions for Jay from the audience? Are there things you want to tell him? Are there things you want to ask him?
Be nice. Don't hurt my feelings. I guess not.
Apparently,
Yes,
apparently you've covered it all.
I would
Sarah?
like I would like to say thank you because he helped me. He helped me from the beginning on years ago. He was the one who really believed in me and said you can do it. And on the way to where I got now, he always kept bringing his ideas. I really want to say thank you for becoming a friend and this O-scale modeling stuff, it is so much, it's so different from HO, where you just buy something and put it on your rails and it works more or less flawlessly. And here we really have to work on every single piece of equipment, especially in Proto 48. We work on everything we get on our workbench. And it really I think I would not have changed over to Proto 48 without you. So really, thank you so much.
Well, Sarah, thank you. You know, I consider you a dear friend, and I have all the confidence in the world. You amaze me with not only that you attempt it, but that you end up following through and finishing. It's awesome. You should be proud.
Thank you.
I wish your grandpa could see you now, huh? Can you
Yeah,
imagine? Can
he
you
would be quite happy.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Sarah is going to be a star at the convention,
Don't say
not
that.
only bringing the tremendous quality of work that she does, but also the way she is able to describe it and get people to understand what she's doing, so she can share it. And that's something that Jay does also. He just shares, educates, is very outgoing. So I want to thank Jay for appearing today. If we need to have him re-give his website, I'm sure he'll do that. People can ask about it. Bob, I think you had a question, Bob Chellen?
Yeah,
Or
so
comment?
two observations. One, at the convention in 2021, I had this crazy idea that we could do a clinic on how to build a turnout in 60 minutes. And I approached Jay on that, and he provided the materials to James Schultz, who did the clinic, and indeed was able to build a turnout from scratch in 60 minutes. I thought that was great, using right away parts. And then the other thing, I've still got this. I haven't put the boiler on yet. I'm trying to get it angled out here a little bit, but Jay actually remotored a, David, you should know what this is. It's a Max Cray.
The Berkshire.
Yep. And he did a great job on it, and it's going to the paint booth. And so Jay, when we talk about his track, you need to know that often he's offering advice behind the scenes, or remotoring locomotives or doing other things. He just knows the entire O-scale hobby and the history. And again, like others have said here, we really appreciate that. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome, but
Thank you. And we're going to try and figure out ways to get Jay front and center at the convention so he can tell us his current
Usually-
projects and help people solve their issues as they occur.
copious amounts of alcohol usually help.
We're planning on that. Actually, we can do better than that in Colorado, but that's a conversation for another time.
I noticed Paul was chuckling, and he must remember the last time we met.
All right. Thank you very much, Jay. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
And if there are questions that come up in the good and welfare part of the meeting, I hope you'll be able to stick around. One of the things
I'm just working on gearboxes, so I'm good.
All right. I totally forgot about this, and it's really something that is exciting in connection with the convention, and I don't want to have things go by without mentioning it. Haiti, the people who make couplers, have been working sort of semi behind the scenes on trucks, on a whole line of O-scale trucks. Not only O-scale 5-foot gauge, but Proto 48. And they have been very bashful about having publicity, but we are now advised Katie is coming to Denver. Katie is bringing trucks with them to Denver. So you'll be able to see them. You'll be able to order them, at least for limited purposes. You'll be able to buy them. And we're very excited about this. This is now the second company in recent times that is expanding into 2-rail O-scale. Tangent Scale Models brought in a very nice 3-dome tank car. And now Katie is coming out with a line of trucks. We are, of course, cautiously optimistic that maybe the trucks will be followed by car kits or cars and other things in 2-rail O. But in Denver, Katie's coming. Katie's bringing their new trucks, and that's exciting. And that's both 5-foot and Proto 48. So when you are weighing whether you come to Denver or not, put that in the package as well. Thank you. We have a tradition of asking people who are kind enough to join us for these programs to go around the room and have everyone introduce yourselves. And it's a pretty simple process. It's part of recognizing that we are a 2-rail O-scale community. And there are only 3 short sentences that we need. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you model? If that leads to follow-up emails or something like that, we can do it. But basically, we want everybody to have the opportunity to introduce yourselves, because this really is about you. And we're happy to have you share this with us. And I know that we have Jim Allen, or had Jim Allen, in the little display here. And since he's the only A that I know about on the call, Jim, if you wish, would you please tell us who you are and give us the information?
Well,
Welcome, by the way.
Yeah, I'm Jim Allen. I live in Washington, Utah, down here with Jim Harper and Bob Jarvis. And I modeled the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, and I do it because it's fun, relaxing, and satisfying. Sometimes it's relaxing, sometimes it's not. It could be a headache at times, just like anything else. But that's part of the whole thing. It's a challenge to get through it, and it's just fun to do.
Good. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for joining us. Any other A's? We're going to go any people with B. I know Joe Barker's here, and Joe, tell us who you are.
Joe Barker. I'm in Alameda, California, which is San Francisco Bay Area, and I model mostly the New Haven Railroad, and I'm mostly in 3-rail, but I dabble in 2.
Thank you. Any more B's? Anybody with C other than J? I think we probably had
we got
J's
another B
introduction.
here.
Okay, Sean.
Yeah, so Sean Brandstetter, Shortline Modelers. I'm, of course, owner of the Shortline Modelers website, also the Facebook group, Track Modeling and Detailing. I have took over from Gene Daimling, the proto48.org website as well. So hoping to get that back off the ground. Yeah, located in Hayden, Idaho, just outside of Coeur d'Alene.
Well, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Any more C's? How about Ron Detmer?
I'm here, but I don't see my picture. Do you see me?
No, we've got your name, but we thought you were just traveling anonymously today.
No, I didn't mean to be anonymous, but I don't know how to get your picture.
Somewhere there's a way to click on a camera. If it is a Zoom problem, it'll be on the lower left-hand part of your screen. There's a picture of a microphone, which you've obviously got on, and there ought to be a picture of a camera to go there too. But if you can't get the camera up, just tell us who you are, where you live, what you do. There we go. There's something.
And we're making progress.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Ron Detmer. Excuse me, Ron Detmer. I live in a suburb of Jacksonville, Florida. I model O scale, and I do some modifications for O scale for folks, and enjoying the hobby since before the Civolutionary War.
All right. I missed Jim Cantor when we went on to the Ds. I apologize, Jim.
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon. I'm Jim Cantor from Indianapolis, Indiana. I model the nickel plate and anything that interchanged with the nickel plate. Indianapolis is home of the first 2 national O-scale conventions and home of the first O-scale national publication from both introduced by Vane Jones of Indianapolis. Thank you.
All right.
One more D for you, David. Ross
Okay.
Dando. Ross Dando from Meridian, Idaho. Twin Star Cars, modern era O scale, and model of Rock Island, and happy to be here.
Welcome. How are you
Thanks.
coming with the Rock Island outside brace boxcar?
The USRA rebuild car, the masters are basically done, waiting for John Cagle. He's currently working on a commercial project, and when he's done with that, we'll start getting the flat molds done and start making the parts.
Outstanding. Look for this car, which is a basically a Rock Island version of a USRA double sheet. It's going to be fantastic. So,
Hope so.
all right.
Thanks.
Where are we going? We got D's, E's, F's.
Russ Carting's trying to get in.
Okay.
Hello there, I'm Boise, Idaho. Most of my stuff's in storage currently, but I model a little standard gauge, little narrow gauge. As you see in the background, I work at Sumter Valley Railroad. So Proto 48 is amazing because, you know, when you work on the railroad, you see how everything works and works precisely together. And so I'm kind of working on getting towards Proto 48 from the old NMRA gauge. But I've been in O scale for a long time. Started as kids. We went to the East Bay Model Engineers in Emeryville. In fact, I made a movie there in 1977, my first epic movies, and to try and get it to them. But so I've got most of my stuff in storage at the moment, but we're working on things, and I have a sectional layout I started. It was 7 sections, you know, each on a hollow core door, and one of these days will be done. But I sure enjoy meeting them folks here I've seen online in different groups, and we'll have to stay in touch, and hopefully we'll get to Denver. We'll see.
Terrific. Thanks you for joining us. Anybody before Sarah? Sarah Griesenbach, tell us the short version of who you are, where you came from, where you are, what you're doing.
Yeah, my name is Sarah Griesenbeck and I come from Austria. I model the Union Pacific. I would say I'm crazy enough to model the Union Pacific main line up in Wyoming and also to Colorado and Southern because it's such a lovely little road.
Thank you. Any more G's? H, IJ?
Ed.
Ed?
Jay here, Ed Jekyll. I'm in California. Most of you know our family layout in Mariposa, model 5-foot gauge, and I'm looking forward to Scale West and to the Denver convention.
Terrific. Look forward to having you there. Thank you. Any other J's?
David.
Paul.
I'm Paul Hansen, Southeast Indianapolis. I am the Midwest Proto 48 coordinator, and I model Indiana Railroad Modern in Proto 48.
Thank you. Paul is also working to coordinate clinics for the Denver convention. We really appreciate his work in that regard. H-I-J. K. Bob, you're a K?
I'm a K, yes. Bob Chelland, I live about an hour north of Denver. And I model what will be a regional railroad set in 1995 in North Dakota. If you're familiar with the Red River Valley and Western, it would follow that same principle, spun off Northern Pacific lines. And the only difference is I'm modeling it as if it had decided to go with all Alco power. So I call it the Green Bay and Western of the North.
Wonderful. Okay, KJL, David Lightfoot, you there?
Yes, David Lightfoot, Santa Rosa, California. And I just model the local railroads just north of San Francisco.
Terrific. Any other L's?
Yeah, I guess I should volunteer for the
Boo.
L's too. So
Yeah.
Boo Liljeburg in Santa Clara, California, slightly involved in the O-Scale West activities. And I model primarily eastern, northeastern roads. I'm a Pensy fan, member of the historical societies for quite a while. And also like the Erie and the New York Central. And for a side note, I also do some Central Railroad of Brazil stuff. So tending to be a little international as well.
Cool. Is that the railroad with the PAs with the 6-foot gauge? Is that?
No, it is
No.
not. But they did
Okay.
have FAs, and they had RS1s. They had some EMDs. So quite a lot of U.S. power. And of course, during steam days, they had lots of Baldwin locomotives. The PAs, they were on the Paulista Railway, and they had 3 of them there, and they are 5'3" gauge. So
okay.
the O scale standard 5-foot gauge is kind of a good compromise to model those roads as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other L's or people names before L? Otherwise, going to M's, N's.
Oh, Joe Messick.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, Joe Messick from Swansea, Illinois. That's a metro suburb of St. Louis, Missouri, just on the other side of the river. And I model Total 48, Union Pacific, and Western Pacific, and also narrow gauge ON3, Denver and Rio Grande Western.
Terrific. Thanks for joining us. Any M's, N's, O's, Al?
Al Oslopis, Dearborn, Michigan. I model New York City area railroads, Long Island Railroad, New Haven, New York Central, and Pennsylvania Railroad.
Okay, thank you. Anybody with L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S? We got a bunch of S's, don't we?
Hey,
all right.
This is Phil Randall here.
From
Dallas, Texas. I'm into traction, streetcars, and interurbans from the Southwest mainly.
Terrific. Are you involved with the Dallas traction group?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Thank you. Carl Sorensen.
Carl Sorensen from Payette, Idaho, and nice to see other Idaho people there. I am second generation O scale. My dad was Milt. Tony was the name he went by in the Santa Clara Valley, who was master model rotor number 32. And if there are any old scalers from the Santa Clara Valley that's old enough to remember, he had an outdoor layout. And one of the things he wished he did was to do dead rail, battery powered. And that is something I'm doing. And I'll be having an outdoor track this summer with using Rail Pro and lithium batteries. So modeled Union Pacific, that's why I inherited. So that's what I'm modeling. So
cool. Thank you. James Reed, we missed you going past to the S's.
So my name's Jim Reed. I'm in Northwest Ohio, Toledo area. Been an O scale probably now for 10 to 15 years doing P48, and right now primarily interested in modern stuff. I like second generation diesel power, but say post 1995 rolling stock. So stuff in the 286K gross rail load era. So
Terrific.
I couldn't tell you what railroad I was going to end up modeling. I have no idea yet.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, RS.
Casey Sturband, Eldersburg, Maryland. That's about an hour west of Baltimore City. OW5, I guess you'd call it, 1.25 inches. And some ON30, more or less follow Long Island Railroad, and I dabble a little bit in live steam.
Terrific. V, U, V. I know we've got a couple of V's here. David Viali? No? Okay, the rest of the alphabet, anybody up? V, W, X, Y, Z. Thank you. I assume that everybody that did not speak up is sitting on a pile of brass locomotives and they just don't want to tell us how much fun they're having. So
Yeah, Mike Walter, I finally found my unmute button.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm in O scale, conventional O scale, transitional era. I never could make up my mind which thing I like the most, so I pretty much have whatever I like. Lots of different railroads. I couldn't make up my mind between Lionel and O scale 2 rail, so I've got both on the layout, which is somewhat unique. And we'd love to have you come either to the Southwest O scale meet in October, or if you're going to be at the NMRA National at the Gaylord in Dallas, we're on the tour.
Thank you. Rick Wright?
Yeah, David, I'll weigh in. Burke, Virginia, right up 12 miles south of the White House, good or bad or other. Currently running Canadian National, Duluth, Wasabi, and Iron Range, focused on the iron ore gathering. Today, I'm involved in installing KD couplers on the cars I got yesterday at York as I began to assemble a mid-1950s New York, Ontario, and Western freight train. I've always wanted to model the old and weary, and it'll take about 4 months to get there. But once again, KD couplers make it work.
Rick Wright changes railroads the way most people change their socks. So depending on what time of year it is, he might be, I thought I really had him converted to nickel plate because he put everything on his layout nickel plate, and I was really overjoyed. And then it was like, nah, his season changed and we went back to, I don't know, Union Pacific or something. But
well, it always keeps you on your P's and Q's. And I enjoy it. And also for Sarah, I have spent 2 fine week-long photo sessions at Semmering Pass up in the Austrian Alps. That is a great piece of European railroading to observe. And it's a great place to go. And I just hope the tunnel going under the Alps is delayed further so I can get back in 2024 and shoot again.
Great to hear.
Thank you. Anybody else want to chime in with anything about themselves, their layouts? This is the good and welfare part of the meeting.
Yeah. Hello, this is Kent Larson from Belmont, Massachusetts. I model an O scale since the 80s, got into it because I liked building my car kits rather than buying something that was ready to run.
Amen.
And I'd let you a little shout out. I'm going dead rail. I'm using Rail Pro on almost everything, whether I power it with straight DC or off a DCC layout. And it's sure nice to use dead rail and have advantage of spring switches. It makes shifting cars really a lot of fun.
Sam, I'm using Rail Pro and also Dead Rail too. And I'm using, I've got 2 Sunset E units that are working beautifully, sound great. So I'd like to visit with you on what you're doing on speakers sometime too.
It would be fun to see you too sometime. if you're ever in the Belmont, Mass area, love to have you over. Or anybody else who visits, let me know.
I'm on the edge of civilization as we know it here in Payette, so.
Sounds good, but as I say, I really fell in love with Rail Pro. I do with rail systems with Don Sweet. He's one of the nicest guys ever. Want to know anything about Rail Pro, he knows it.
Okay, thank you. We are over an hour and I don't want to make it too long. I got a couple of things we need to talk about. Number one, the O-Scale Central really needs to have more of a presence on the West Coast. We have simply gotten detached from the people that used to be the activists on the West Coast. And I would be very interested, anybody who's on the call, and I know there are several of you from the West Coast, I would love to work with you. Joe Barker, who is from California, and would love to get you involved with O-Scale Central. We're doing some good things. We'd like some help. So the Californians and West Coast people in particular, we'd like to work with you. Next thing, the next meeting, I have been pursuing Jarrett Heydrich of Atlas to come on the show and tell us what Atlas has been up to. I'm still working on it, and I am hoping that I've got him for May 13. That's a little bit earlier than usual. We want to give as much lead time for O-Scale National as we can. And I think I've got him locked in, but Saturday, May 13 will be the next program. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give us feedback whether you did or didn't. And I hope we see you back here again. It's really nice to see folks come back for multiple shows. That tells us we're out there filling a need. So thank you very much. Unless there's anything else, we're going to sign off. The way I do this is I do not end the meeting for everybody, because sometimes after the meeting adjourns, there are people who want to trade emails or otherwise have some cross conversation, and I don't want to interfere with that for some reasonable amount of time. So we are going to adjourn now. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we are now off the meeting and in an informal, totally informal mode.
I just wanted to add one thing I'm working on a couple of prototype motor cars, an MT14, MT19. I love the article on the motor car sheds and no-scale trains, but I want everybody to know that you can't lift them up to put them on the tracks. He doesn't have tracks going to the rails, and he doesn't have a way to turn it on the rails. So if you're going to put on a motor car, make sure you have a way for that operator to push that motor car onto the tracks. Otherwise, it's just a stationary thing on the side. But anyway, that's my little 2-bit. I'll go back to work on my Canadian MT19.
Go get them.